My name is Grace. I'm 58 years old, and until yesterday, I thought I knew everything about my family. But sometimes, life has a way of shattering your world in a single sentence. It started with a phone call. I was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for dinner, when my daughter-in-law's voice crackled through the line. "Mom, can we talk?" she said, calm but strange. I paused, knife in hand. "Of course, dear. What's wrong?" I asked, trying to sound casual. But there was something in her tone, a weight I couldn't place. It's about the wedding," she said. My heart skipped. Wedding? Our son, Daniel. I thought he had mentioned nothing about a wedding. "What wedding?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. There was silence on the other end. And then, slowly, as if she were testing me, she said, We got married yesterday." I froze, knife trembling in my hand. I stared at the chopping board. My mind couldn't process the words. "Yesterday," I whispered, my voice breaking. How could I not know? Daniel didn't tell me." She sighed. I know you're angry, Mom. But it was sudden." "Sudden?" My head was spinning. My legs felt weak. I sank into a chair, gripping the edge of the table for support. My life had just flipped upside down. I tried to speak, but no words came. I could hear her voice on the line, gentle yet tense, like she was holding back a storm. "Grace, please don't be upset. I wanted to tell you in person, but things moved fast," she said softly. "Fast?" I clenched my fists. My son, my Daniel, had married without telling me, without even a hint. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and angry. The kind of anger that burns in your chest and refuses to leave. Why didn't you tell me?" I finally managed, my voice trembling. I'm your mother." There was a pause, and then she whispered something I'll never forget. "I thought maybe you wouldn't approve." The words hit me like a thunderbolt. Not only had my son kept this from me, but my own daughter-in-law had assumed I would disapprove, without even trying to talk to me. Tears welled up in my eyes. I felt my heart cracking, piece by piece. All those years, all the sacrifices, and now I was left out of the most important moment in my son's life. I dropped the phone onto the counter, sitting in stunned silence. The knife lay abandoned. I could still hear her voice faintly on the line, trying to apologize, trying to explain, but it all felt like noise in a storm. I thought about my son. Daniel had always been so thoughtful, so careful, and yet he had kept this from me. For a moment, doubt crept in. Had I been too strict? Too controlling? Had my constant worrying driven him to hide his happiness from me? I shook my head. No, he should have trusted me. I had always loved him, always supported him. And now this. I sank further into the chair, tears streaming down my face. I felt humiliated, like the mother who couldn't even be trusted with the truth. And deep down, I knew this was just the beginning. Something didn't feel right. There was a quiet tension in the air, one that pressed down on me, heavy and suffocating. I didn't know what to do next. Should I confront them? Should I wait? Or should I leave it? I picked up the phone again, my fingers trembling. I need to see both of you," I whispered, voice barely audible. "Of course, Mom," she replied softly. "Come over tonight." I hung up. My chest ached. My mind raced. I could feel it already. This wedding was not just a union of two people. It was a storm waiting to erupt. And somehow, I knew there were secrets, hidden beneath the smiles and polite words, waiting to come out. I closed my eyes and whispered to myself, whatever happens next, I have to be ready. Because deep down, I had a feeling that this wedding, this sudden, shocking wedding, was only the beginning of a story that would tear my family apart. I couldn't eat all afternoon. Every time I tried, the food sat heavy in my stomach, a bitter reminder that nothing in my world made sense anymore. My mind kept replaying her words, "We got married yesterday." By evening, I found myself standing outside Daniel's house. My hand shook as I rang the doorbell. The familiar chimes sounded, but it felt strange, foreign, like I was stepping into someone else's life. The door opened, and there she was, my daughter-in-law, Emily, standing there in that calm, almost serene way she always did. But tonight, her calmness felt cold, distant. "Mom," she said softly, "come in." I stepped inside, my eyes scanning the room. There were flowers, lots of flowers. A cake sat on the table, almost untouched. Family photos adorned the walls, but the air felt different, tense, electric. I took a deep breath. I still don't understand, I said, my voice trembling. Daniel, why didn't you tell me? Daniel appeared behind her, smiling nervously. He looked guilty. The boy I had raised, the son I had loved fiercely, now seemed like a stranger. Mom, he began, but I cut him off. Don't mom me, I snapped. You got married, and I didn't even know. He flinched. Emily placed a hand on his arm. Grace, please, we didn't want to hurt you. Hurt me. I laughed bitterly. Hurt me? You humiliated me in front of everyone. How could you do this? At that moment, the front door opened and my daughter, Rebecca, stepped in. She froze when she saw me. Mom, I didn't know you'd come tonight. I had to come, I said, voice tight. This isn't just about a wedding. It's about trust. Emily's eyes softened. Grace, please sit. Let us explain. I refused. I couldn't sit. I paced the room, fists clenched. Explain what? That you married my son behind my back? That you assumed I would disapprove? Daniel looked pained. Mom, it wasn't like that. Things happened fast. We didn't plan it. Fast. I shouted. Fast? You've been dating for 3 years. I raised you to be honest, to communicate. The tension in the room was suffocating. I could see Emily's hands trembling. She bit her lip, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I hated myself for the tears forming in my own eyes. I hated that I felt betrayed, and yet I was still a mother who loved her son. Then came the humiliation I wasn't prepared for. My sister-in-law, Marge, barged in with her usual dramatic flair. Grace, you knew about this wedding and didn't tell us. What? I cried, bewildered. I thought you'd mentioned it. Marge added, shaking her head. I can't believe you let this happen without informing the family. I opened my mouth, but no words came. The room seemed to spin. I could hear whispers, half-formed sentences from neighbors who had come to celebrate the wedding. My face burned red. My own family, my own community. I felt exposed, humiliated. Emily stepped forward, gently touching my arm. Grace, please don't be upset with us. We didn't mean for anyone to feel left out. I pulled away. Left out? Emily, you don't understand. This isn't just about being left out. This is about respect. About honesty. Daniel tried again. Mom, but I couldn't listen. I could see it all. The smiles hiding judgment, the polite nods concealing gossip. My own daughter-in-law, the woman I had trusted, had married my son in secret. My own son had kept this from me. And everyone else, they were already talking. For the first time in my life, I felt powerless, humiliated, alone. And the strangest part? I couldn't stop crying. Tears ran down my cheeks as I whispered, more to myself than anyone else. How could this happen? Emily knelt beside me. Grace, I promise we didn't want to hurt you. Daniel, we just wanted to be together. I looked at her, searching for sincerity, and I found it. But even sincerity couldn't erase the sting, the sharp, burning humiliation of being left out of the most important day in my son's life. I left that night with a heavy heart, feeling like a stranger in my own family. The whispers followed me out the door. I could hear them even after I closed the car door. Did you hear Grace didn't even know? I knew something had changed. The family I thought I understood, the son I thought I raised, none of it was the same anymore. And deep down, I sensed that this wedding wasn't just a celebration of love. It was a storm waiting to erupt, and I had no idea how destructive it would be. As I drove home, my hands gripped the steering wheel tightly. Questions swirled in my mind. Why did Daniel hide this from me? Was Emily hiding something else too? Who else in the family knew? And most importantly, how much of my life had been a lie? One thing was certain, nothing would ever be the same again. The morning after the wedding revelation, I couldn't sleep. My mind replayed every detail from last night. The whispers, the shocked faces, the way Daniel and Emily had avoided my gaze. Even the smell of the flowers in the living room seemed to mock me. I decided to visit my brother, Robert. He had always been the one I trusted most in the family. Maybe talking to him would calm my storming heart. I found him in his study, sipping tea. He looked up, surprised to see me. Grace? It's early. What's wrong? I sank into the chair across from him. Robert, it's Daniel. It's Emily. The wedding. My voice broke mid-sentence. Robert frowned. Wait, what wedding? I took a deep breath. They got married yesterday. And I didn't even know. Everyone else seems to know but me. I feel humiliated. Left out. Betrayed. Robert's face darkened. I had no idea. But maybe there's more to this than you realize. What do you mean? I asked, confused. He leaned back, looking uneasy. Grace, there have always been tensions in this family you might not know about. Secrets. Old grudges. Things people bury for years, pretending everything is fine. I stared at him, heart pounding. Secrets? Robert, what are you talking about? He sighed, putting down his cup. You remember Aunt Lillian? She never liked Emily, right? She's always whispered things behind the scenes. I think she might have had a hand in keeping you out of the loop. My hands trembled. You mean Aunt Lillian? But why? Emily, she's not even family yet. She married Daniel yesterday. How could Aunt Lillian influence this? Robert rubbed his temples. Grace, family is complicated. There are old rivalries, old jealousies. Sometimes people do things they shouldn't, and they hide it behind a smile. I felt my chest tighten. I had always trusted my family, always believed that love and honesty came first. But now, maybe I had been blind. Robert, I whispered, voice shaky. You think Emily or Daniel or someone else was hiding things on purpose? That this wedding was manipulated? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he said quietly, Grace, sometimes what looks like love is tangled in family politics. You might be seeing the tip of the iceberg. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I had imagined a simple, beautiful marriage. Now I could feel the currents of deception swirling beneath the surface. I left Robert's house feeling heavier than when I arrived. My mind raced, trying to piece together the fragments of what I knew. Daniel married Emily without telling me. Everyone else seemed aware. Aunt Lillian had never liked Emily. Old grudges and hidden rivalries might be driving the secrecy. As I walked home, I passed the bakery near my street. I saw a group of neighbors standing outside, whispering and glancing in my direction. Did you hear? Grace didn't even know about Daniel's wedding, one woman said. I clenched my fists. Humiliation. The word echoed in my head. My own family, my own neighbors, they had made me feel like an outsider in my own life. When I got home, Daniel was waiting. His eyes were filled with regret, but I could see the tension in his jaw, the strain in his shoulders. Mom, I know you're upset. I didn't want to hurt you, he said quietly. Hurt me? I laughed bitterly. Daniel, you humiliated me. You made me feel like a stranger in my own family. And now everyone is talking about it. Emily stepped forward, her voice soft. Grace, please. We didn't plan for it to be like this. We just wanted to be together. I shook my head. Together? Together doesn't erase betrayal. You don't get to decide when to tell me about my own son's life. Daniel looked down. Mom, I didn't know how. I was scared. I thought maybe you'd be angry. I felt my anger mix with a strange, sharp pain. I had raised him to be honest, to trust me, to share his life with me, and yet here we were, hiding behind excuses. And then it hit me. Maybe there was more to Emily's secrecy than even I realized. Something in the way she avoided my gaze, something in her quiet voice, a secret she wasn't telling. Emily, I said cautiously, is there something else? She hesitated, her hands trembling. Grace, there are things you don't know about our families, about why we married so quickly. My heart raced. What things? Tell me. She shook her head. Not yet. It's complicated. You'll understand in time. But I didn't want to wait. I wanted answers now. And deep down, I knew this was just the beginning. The wedding had opened a door to secrets, betrayals, and truths that no one in the family had dared to speak aloud until now. I sat down, exhausted. My chest ached with humiliation, anger, and a growing sense of dread. Something was wrong. Something had been hidden from me, And I had a feeling that when it finally came out, it would change everything I thought I knew about my family. I whispered to myself, trembling, whatever is behind this, I have to find out. I can't let this go. The following morning, I woke up with a heavy heart and a sense of unease I couldn't shake. I couldn't stop thinking about Daniel, Emily, and the secrecy that had turned my life upside down. But there was something else gnawing at me, a feeling that this wasn't just about the wedding. I drove to my mother's house, hoping for some comfort. Mom had always been my anchor, the one person who understood me. But when I arrived, even her warm smile couldn't calm the storm brewing inside me. Grace, you look tired, she said, ushering me inside. I haven't slept, I admitted. It's about Daniel and Emily. Their wedding. I feel betrayed. I don't know why they hid it. And I don't know who to trust anymore. Mom studied me silently, her eyes softening. Oh, Grace, sometimes people do things they think are right, even if it hurts those they love. But I think there's more to this story than you know. My heart skipped a beat. More, I whispered. What do you mean? She sighed. Your brother called me yesterday. He said there have been whispers in the family for months about jealousy, rivalry, things hidden for years. And some of those whispers involve people you thought you could trust. I felt a cold knot in my stomach. Could it be true? Could people close to me really be plotting behind my back? Just then, my phone buzzed. A message from Rebecca. Mom, you need to see this. It's urgent. I hurried back home, my hands trembling. When I arrived, Daniel and Emily were gone. But on the dining table, I found an envelope addressed to me. The handwriting was unmistakable. My sister-in-law, Marge. I tore it open. Inside was a letter, carefully written, each word dripping with malice disguised as concern. Grace, I don't know why you are so surprised. Everyone knew Daniel, and Emily wanted to keep this quiet. You have a way of controlling everything, and they had every right to do what they wanted. Stop being so dramatic. My hand shook. I felt my face flush with a mix of anger and humiliation. Marge, she had deliberately tried to make me feel small, make me doubt myself. And the worst part? I had trusted her. All these years, I had considered her my family, my ally. I sank into a chair, clutching the letter. Tears blurred my vision. How could people I loved betray me like this? How could they take joy in my humiliation? Daniel returned home while I was still reeling. He froze when he saw me. Mom, what's wrong? I waved the letter at him. This is wrong. Marge, she's been stirring things, making me feel like an outsider, like I have no right to be part of my son's life. Daniel's face turned pale. Mom, I didn't know she would. You didn't know. I shouted, my voice cracking. Daniel, how many times have I trusted you? How many times have I supported you? And this is what I get. A secret wedding, whispers behind my back, letters designed to humiliate me. Emily appeared, standing silently at the door, her eyes wide with guilt. Grace, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. I didn't know Marge would write something like that. I would never hurt you on purpose. I shook my head, feeling my anger and pain boil over. I trusted all of you. And yet, I feel like I'm surrounded by lies, by people who care more about appearances than honesty, than family. Daniel knelt beside me, placing a hand on mine. Mom, please, you have to understand. We didn't plan this. We thought maybe if we kept it small, it would be easier. We didn't mean to hurt you. I pulled my hand away. Easier? You humiliated me, Daniel. You've turned my family into strangers. And now I don't even know who to trust. Tears streamed down my face as I looked at them both. Betrayal cut deeper than any argument could. And somewhere in the back of my mind, a voice whispered, there's more here. Secrets deeper than even Emily and Daniel know. Then it hit me. Emily had been too calm, too controlled. There was something she wasn't saying, something she was hiding. And Marge, she had planted the seeds of doubt and humiliation perfectly. I felt a chill run down my spine. The wedding had been a trigger, but this betrayal, it was far bigger than I had imagined. And I knew, deep down, that the storm was just beginning. I whispered to myself, trembling, who else is hiding the truth? And how much more will they betray me before I find out everything? The morning sun felt heavy that day, as if it knew the storm I was about to face. I couldn't stay quiet anymore. Every fiber of my being demanded answers. Daniel, Emily, Marge. I needed them all to hear how betrayed I felt. I drove straight to Daniel's house, my heart hammering in my chest. As I stepped inside, I could see it immediately, an air of tension thick enough to choke on. Daniel and Emily exchanged uneasy glances. Marge was sitting on the couch, pretending to read a magazine, but her eyes flicked to me constantly. Grace, Daniel said cautiously, standing. Mom, please sit. I ignored him, pacing the living room. Sit, I snapped. Do you know what it feels like to be humiliated in your own family? To have everyone whispering behind your back while you're kept in the dark? Emily stepped forward, her hands trembling. Grace, we didn't mean to. You didn't mean to? I cut her off. You got married behind my back. You think that doesn't hurt? You think it's okay to leave your mother out of the most important day in your son's life? Marge put down her magazine, smirking slightly. Grace, maybe if you weren't so controlling, people wouldn't feel the need to keep things from you. I froze, staring at her. Smirk? She had the audacity to smirk at me after everything? My chest tightened. Controlling? Controlling? Do you know what it feels like to be excluded, lied to, humiliated in front of family and neighbors? That's not control, Marge. That's betrayal. Daniel stepped forward, trying to calm me. Mom, please. Marge didn't. Didn't what? Help Emily hide the wedding. Didn't send me letters to humiliate me. Don't even try to defend this. I shouted, tears welling up. Emily spoke softly, almost pleading. Grace, it wasn't just Marge. We, Daniel and I, we thought we were protecting you. We didn't want you to be upset, so we waited to tell you. I shook my head. Protect me? You call secrecy protection? You call excluding your mother from your life for your own convenience protection. The room was silent for a moment, the tension palpable. Every eye was on me. I could see judgment, shock, and a little bit of fear. I didn't care. I had to say what I felt. I raised Daniel. I sacrificed for him. And this is how my love is repaid. With lies, whispers, and secrets. I spat, voice cracking with emotion. Daniel looked stricken. Mom, I didn't know how to tell you. I was afraid. Afraid. I shouted. Afraid of what? That I might feel hurt? Daniel, you've already hurt me. Every day that I didn't know about this wedding, every lie, every whispered conversation behind my back, those days hurt me. You've already made me feel like I don't belong in my own family. Marge rolled her eyes. Grace, maybe if you weren't so dramatic. I slammed my hand on the table, silencing her. Dramatic? Humiliation isn't drama, Marge. Being excluded isn't drama. Betrayal is real, and it's happening right now in this room. Emily stepped closer, her voice trembling. Grace, please. I love Daniel. I respect you. I never wanted this to happen. I thought maybe if we told you later, it would be easier. I stared at her, searching for sincerity, and I saw it fear, guilt, truth. But even sincerity couldn't erase the sting, the sharp, cutting humiliation of being left out of my son's life. Easier? I whispered, shaking my head. Do you have any idea what it feels like to watch your own family, the people you trust the most, turn your life upside down? To have every neighbor, every relative, every friend whisper about you like you're some stranger. Daniel knelt beside me, voice soft. Mom, I'm sorry. Truly. We thought we were protecting you, but we see now we were wrong. I looked at him, and for a brief moment I saw my little boy, the one I had raised, the one who had once confided in me about every heartbreak and every secret. And then I saw the stranger who had hidden his wedding from me. You're wrong. I repeated. Wrong? Daniel, this isn't about right or wrong anymore. It's about trust. It's about respect. It's about honesty. And right now, all I feel is betrayal. The room fell silent. Marge looked uncomfortable. Emily's eyes shimmered with tears, and Daniel's shoulders sagged with guilt. I felt the weight of it all. The betrayal, the humiliation, the family secrets. And yet, somewhere deep inside, I knew this confrontation was only the beginning. Because if the wedding had been kept secret, if Marge had stirred whispers and humiliation, then what else were they hiding? And how far would the betrayal go before I uncovered the whole truth? I stood up, my hands trembling, voice steady. You all need to understand something. I'm not angry because of the wedding. I'm angry because I was lied to. I'm angry because my love, my care, my role as a mother was disregarded. And until I know the whole truth, nothing in this family will ever be the same. Emily lowered her gaze. Daniel looked heartbroken. Marge shuffled uncomfortably. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. I whispered to myself, a shiver running down my spine. Whatever secrets you're hiding, I will find them. And when I do, nothing will ever be the same. The night after the confrontation, I couldn't sleep. My mind raced endlessly, replaying every argument, every word, every subtle glance in Daniel and Emily's living room. Something wasn't right. Emily's calm demeanor, her hesitations. There was more she wasn't telling me. I woke early, the morning sun spilling across the floor like a spotlight on my thoughts. I decided to visit Emily. I needed answers. I had to know the truth. When I arrived, Emily opened the door immediately, her face pale. Grace, I wasn't expecting you, she said softly. I need to know everything, I said firmly, stepping inside. No more hiding. No more half-truths. I need to understand why you and Daniel kept this secret, and what else I'm not supposed to know. She swallowed, her hands trembling. Grace, I didn't want to hurt you, but there are things about my family, about Daniel's family. I didn't know how to explain. There's history, complicated history. I felt a chill. History? I repeated. What kind of history? Emily led me to the living room, sitting across from me. Grace, Daniel's father, your husband, had a falling out with my family years ago. Something serious. There were rumors, threats, and my parents, they didn't want us to marry openly because of it. I blinked, stunned. Rumors? Threats? My family and yours, what do you mean? Emily's eyes glistened with tears. Grace, it wasn't just about love between Daniel and me. It was about protecting both families. My parents, they didn't trust Daniel's family. And Daniel, he didn't want you to be hurt by the truth. That's why we kept the wedding small. Why we didn't tell anyone. We thought it was safer this way. I sank into a chair, my head spinning. Safer. I whispered. Emily, do you have any idea what this has done to me? The humiliation, the whispers, the betrayal I feel. I know, she said softly. And I'm so sorry, Grace. I never wanted you to feel this way. But if we had told you everything, you might have stopped us. You might have reacted badly. I couldn't risk it. I stared at her, trying to process the confession. And slowly, the pieces began to fit together. The secrecy, the tension, the hushed conversations, it wasn't just selfishness. It was fear. Grace, Emily's voice trembled. There's more. Daniel's father, your husband, he had disputes with my family over money, property, over things that shouldn't have mattered. But the grudges lasted years. And now, somehow they still influence decisions. That's why we married secretly. It wasn't disrespect to you, it was protection. My chest tightened. Part of me understood. Part of me felt relief. But another part, the part that had been humiliated, lied to, and excluded, it still burned. I whispered more to myself than to her. Protection doesn't erase betrayal. Emily nodded, tears rolling down her cheeks. I know, and I wish we could go back and do things differently. But Grace, please believe me. Everything we did, it was for love and for safety, not to hurt you. I sat in silence, trying to process the storm of emotions swirling inside me. Relief, anger, understanding, and pain, each one battling the other for dominance. Then she hesitated, glancing down at her hands. Grace, there's one more thing. Something Daniel hasn't told you yet. Something he thought he could fix later, but it might change how you see everything. My heart raced. What is it? I demanded. Emily looked up, her eyes full of fear and sorrow. Grace, the wedding wasn't just about us. Someone in the family, someone close tried to interfere. They wanted to stop it, and we had to act quickly to protect our marriage and everyone involved. My blood ran cold. Interfere? Who? What do you mean? She shook her head. I can't say yet, not until you're ready. But you need to know this. The family, the secrets, they go deeper than you think. And the betrayal, it's not just about yesterday's wedding. It's been building for years. I felt my knees go weak. The storm I had sensed, it was growing, swelling into something I might not survive unscathed. I whispered, voice trembling, I don't know if I can take another secret, another betrayal. Emily reached across the table, her hand resting gently on mine. You can, Grace, but you need to stay strong. And you need to know the truth, eventually. As I left Emily's house that day, my mind was a whirlwind. The wedding, the secrecy, the betrayal, none of it was what it seemed. There were hidden truths, dangerous tensions, and family rivalries I had never imagined. One thing was certain, the path ahead would be painful. And when all the secrets finally came out, nothing would ever be the same. I whispered to myself as I walked to my car, heart pounding. I have to uncover everything, no matter the cost. No matter who gets hurt. The truth has to come out. The next few days were a blur. I wandered through the house like a ghost, haunted by the echoes of whispered conversations, half-truths, and the knowledge that my family had been hiding so much from me. Every familiar corner now felt foreign, every smile suspicious. I tried to talk to Rebecca, hoping for comfort. She sat across from me in the living room, clutching her mug of tea. Mom, you look exhausted, she said softly. I am exhausted, Rebecca, I admitted. Exhausted from being lied to, excluded, humiliated. And I can't stop thinking about everything Emily told me. She nodded slowly, her eyes shadowed with concern. I know, Mom, but you have to pace yourself. You're unraveling, and the more you dwell on it, the heavier it feels. I shook my head. I can't pace myself. I can't pretend it's not happening. I trusted them all. Daniel, Emily, Marge. I don't even know who I can trust anymore. Rebecca hesitated, then whispered, Mom, you need to be careful. Sometimes knowing too much, it can hurt more than staying in the dark. Her words made me pause. I wanted to stay in the dark, wanted to pretend none of this had happened. But my heart, my instincts, my very soul refused. I needed answers. I needed the truth. That evening, I went back to Emily's house. I couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that the wedding, the secrecy, and the family tensions were only the beginning. Emily met me at the door, her eyes wary but sincere. Grace, I didn't think you'd come back so soon, she said softly. I need to know more, I said, stepping inside. I need to understand what's happening, why you and Daniel felt you had to hide this from me, and who else is involved. Emily sighed, motioning me to sit. Grace, I told you about the family feud, the threats and the grudges. But there's more, something Daniel hasn't told you. Someone is still trying to manipulate things behind the scenes. My chest tightened. Manipulate? Who? She hesitated. It's complicated. Marge, Aunt Lillian, even some of Daniel's old friends. They all had reasons to stop us from marrying. Some were jealous, some were angry over past disputes, and some just wanted to see chaos. Chaos. The word echoed in my mind. I could see it now. The subtle glances, the hushed whispers, the smirks. Every act of secrecy, every half-truth, every betrayal, it wasn't random. It was deliberate. Tears welled up in my eyes. Emily, how could they do this to me? To Daniel? To you? I don't know, she whispered. But they did. And they still might. That's why we had to act quickly. That's why the wedding was secret. I felt a surge of anger. Secret weddings, secret letters, secret whispers. It's like I've been living in a house of lies. Emily reached out, touching my hand gently. Grace, it's not just about lies. It's about protection. About surviving the family we were born into. I pulled my hand away. Protection? Protection doesn't humiliate your own mother. Protection doesn't make her feel powerless, betrayed, and alone. The emotional storm inside me reached its peak. I felt a mixture of anger, grief, betrayal, and confusion. I wanted to scream, to cry, to throw everything across the room. But instead, I sat there, trembling, letting the tears roll freely. I don't know if I can handle any more secrets, I whispered, my voice breaking. I don't know if I can face another betrayal. Emily nodded, her own tears spilling. I know it's hard, but Grace, you are stronger than you think. And eventually the truth will come out. I clenched my fists, staring at the floor. The truth, yes, but what if the truth destroys more than it heals? Emily looked at me, her eyes full of fear and hope. Then we face it together. Whatever comes out, we will handle it. But Grace, you have to be ready. You have no idea how deep this goes. Her words hung in the air, heavy and foreboding. I could feel the weight of the storm yet to come. Every family secret, every betrayal, every hidden motive, they were all waiting to be uncovered. And I realized something that chilled me to the bone. This wedding, this secret, it was just the beginning. The real battles, the real revelations were still ahead. I whispered to myself, trembling, I have to be ready. No matter what comes next, I will face it. I must know the truth, even if it shatters everything I've believed. I hadn't slept all night. The storm inside me had grown too large to contain, and I knew the only way to find peace, or at least clarity, was to confront the family head on. I arrived at Daniel's house mid-morning, determined. This time, I wasn't going to leave until I had answers. The front door was slightly ajar, and I could hear voices inside. As I stepped in, I saw Daniel and Emily sitting tensely on the couch. Marge was pacing the living room, her lips pressed into a thin line. And in the corner, Aunt Lillian stood, arms folded, her expression unreadable. Grace, Daniel said nervously. Mom, what are you doing here so early? I came for the truth, I said firmly, standing tall despite the storm raging inside me. No more secrets, no more whispers, no more lies. Marge scoffed. Grace, you're overreacting. This is a wedding. We all celebrate it. Why make it a drama? I turned on her, eyes blazing. Drama? Marge, this isn't drama. This is betrayal. Lies. Humiliation. You've been manipulating things behind my back, stirring gossip, and making me feel like an outsider in my own family. Aunt Lillian finally spoke, her voice sharp. Grace, don't act like you're innocent. You've always been controlling. Everyone knows it. Maybe Emily and Daniel just wanted some peace without your constant supervision. I felt my chest tighten, my vision narrowing. Controlling? Controlling. I raised Daniel. I sacrificed for him. And this is how you repay me? By turning my family against me. Emily stepped forward, trembling. Grace, you have to listen. I know it looks bad, but there's more. We didn't just hide the wedding. We had to protect ourselves and you from past family grudges. You don't know everything. Then tell me. I shouted. Stop hiding things. I deserve to know. A tense silence fell over the room. Then Daniel took a deep breath. Mom, it's true. There are things you've never been told. Things from the past that affected this wedding, this family, everything. And now it's time you knew. I gripped the edge of the couch. I'm ready. Daniel's voice was low but steady. Years ago, your father and my father had a falling out. It started with money, then property, then grudges that spiraled. Emily's family, they were caught in the middle. Threats were made. Words were said. And by the time Daniel and Emily started dating, the animosity hadn't ended. They wanted to keep the wedding secret because they feared the feud could ruin everything or hurt you. I felt a cold shiver. A feud? Why was I never told? Emily's eyes filled with tears. We tried, Grace. We tried to protect you from it. That's why we acted quickly, secretly. We thought it was safer for everyone. Marge snorted. Protect you? More like isolate you, Grace. Everyone knew except you. That's what humiliation feels like. I couldn't take it anymore. Enough. I screamed, my voice echoing through the room. I don't care about the feud. I don't care about their fears. I care about trust. I care about honesty. And none of that happened. All I see is betrayal and manipulation, right in front of my eyes. Aunt Lillian stepped forward, her face pale. Grace, maybe if you'd loosened your grip on this family, things would have been different. I stared at her, feeling the weight of years of family politics crashing down. Different? You all call it different? This isn't different. This is destruction. And it's been happening under my nose for years. The wedding, the whispers, the letters, everything. All lies, all betrayal. Emily knelt beside me. Grace, I'm so sorry. I never wanted this to hurt you. I love Daniel. I respect you. But the truth, the full truth, it's messy. It's ugly. And it's not over yet. I felt tears streaming down my face. Relief, anger, sorrow, and rage all mixed together. Not over yet? I whispered, my voice trembling. What else? What else haven't you told me? Emily hesitated, swallowing hard. There's someone else involved. Someone trying to manipulate everything. Someone you trusted. And they might still be trying to control what happens next. I felt my blood run cold. My worst fears were coming true. The wedding, the secrecy, the betrayal. It was all part of a larger storm I hadn't even begun to understand. I whispered to myself, voice barely audible, I will uncover every secret, every betrayal. No matter who it is, no matter what it costs, the truth will come out. And in that moment, I knew the family I thought I knew. The family I had trusted was on the edge of collapse. The next morning, I couldn't eat, couldn't think clearly. Every whisper, every glance, every half-truth replayed in my mind. Emily's words from last night haunted me. There's someone else involved, someone you trusted. I had to find out who. I had to know the truth. I drove to my brother Robert's house. He had always been a voice of reason in the chaos of our family, the one I could rely on for guidance. When I arrived, he greeted me with a puzzled look. Grace, you look like you haven't slept in days, he said. I haven't, I admitted, my voice trembling. Robert, there's something bigger going on than just Daniel and Emily's secret wedding. Emily told me someone is manipulating everything behind the scenes. Someone I trusted, and I need to know who it is. Robert's expression darkened. Grace, I suspected as much. But be careful. The person involved is cunning. They know exactly how to hide their tracks. I felt a chill run down my spine. Who, Robert? Tell me. He sighed heavily. It's Marge. My heart sank. Marge. I whispered. My sister-in-law. Robert nodded grimly. Yes, she's been stirring tension for years, feeding whispers, writing letters, making sure you felt excluded. She didn't want Emily and Daniel to marry peacefully, and now she's escalating. I felt my fist clench. But why? What could she possibly gain from this? Robert looked uncomfortable. Power, control, attention. She wants the family under her thumb, Grace. And when she sees someone else getting what she thinks she deserves, she manipulates everything to create chaos. I felt rage boiling inside me. Marge, the one I had trusted, the one I had considered family, had been working against me all along. I need proof, I said, voice shaking. I need to catch her in the act. I can't confront her blindly. Robert nodded. I'll help you. But be careful. She's dangerous in her subtlety. She can make anyone doubt themselves, even you. I left his house with a determination I hadn't felt in years. I had to expose her. I had to protect my family, my son, my home. That evening, I returned to Daniel and Emily's house. Marge was there, chatting innocently with Aunt Lillian. I observed them quietly from the hallway, pretending to look at a photo frame. It didn't take long. Marge picked up her phone, whispering into it. Yes, she's reacting exactly how I planned. Grace is furious. She's isolated. She doesn't know what to do. Don't worry, everything is going according to plan. I froze. My heart raced. Proof. Finally, proof. I stepped forward, voice trembling with fury. Marge, enough. She looked up, feigning surprise. Grace? What are you? You've been manipulating my family for years. I shouted. You've been stirring whispers, sending letters, humiliating me, all behind my back. Aunt Lillian gasped. Grace, that's not. Silence. I snapped. I've heard enough. All your schemes, your manipulations, they end tonight. Marge's face twisted with anger. How dare you accuse me? You have no proof. I held up my phone, showing her the recording of her conversation. Her jaw dropped. You. Yes, I said, voice steady. I caught you. The lies, the letters, the whispers, all of it. And now everyone will know. Emily stepped forward, tears in her eyes. Grace. I knew it. I tried to tell Daniel, but he didn't believe me. I knew something was off, but I didn't know it was this bad. Daniel shook his head in disbelief. Marge, why? Why would you do this? Marge's face turned red, then pale. You don't understand. I I wanted control. I wanted everything my way. I felt a surge of vindication, relief, and fury all at once. You got it, Marge. But it ends now. Your manipulation, your lies, they're over. No more secrets. No more betrayal. She sank into the couch, defeated, finally revealing the depth of her envy and cruelty. And as she sat there, I realized something terrifying. The wedding, the family feud, the secrets, it had all been a setup. A chain of events fueled by envy, fear, and old grudges. I looked around the room at my son, my daughter-in-law, and my family. The storm wasn't over, but for the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope. The manipulator had been exposed. The truth had begun to surface. I whispered to myself, exhausted but determined, this isn't the end. But it's a beginning. A beginning of honesty, of healing, and of facing every secret that has haunted this family. Chapter 10. Truth and Closure. The morning after I exposed Marge, the house felt unusually quiet. The tension from the previous days still lingered, but for the first time, I sensed a chance at clarity, a chance for my family to face the truth and rebuild. I sat at the kitchen table, sipping tea, trying to calm my racing heart. Daniel came in, his expression tired but determined. Mom, thank you for standing up today. For all of us. I don't think we could have handled this without you. I gave him a small nod. Daniel, this isn't about me. It's about honesty, about trust, and about making sure nothing like this ever happens again. Emily joined us, placing a hand on my arm. Grace, I know it's been hard. And I know the secrets, the lies, the manipulation, it's a lot to take in. But now we can start healing. I looked at her, feeling a mixture of anger, relief, and love. Healing, yes, but it won't be easy. I've been hurt, humiliated, betrayed. I need to see real change. No more secrets. No more whispers behind my back. Emily nodded, her eyes glistening with tears. I promise, Grace. No more secrets. We'll be honest. We'll make things right. The front door opened and Robert walked in, holding a stack of letters and documents. Grace, I gathered everything I could find. The letters, the evidence, everything about the family feud, Marge's schemes, it's all here. It's time to face the full truth. I felt a shiver run through me. Show me everything. I need to understand it all. Over the next few hours, we went through the documents, the letters, the old family records. The feud, the grudges, the manipulation, it was all there, laid bare in black and white. Marge's envy, Aunt Lillian's subtle interference, the misunderstandings, the secrecy, it all finally made sense. Marge sat silently on the couch, defeated, while I read the letters aloud. Each word was a revelation, each confession a shock. And yet, as the hours passed, I felt a strange sense of liberation. The truth had been hidden for years, but now it was out in the open. Finally, I looked at everyone in the room. This is the reality we live in. Painful, messy, complicated. But it's ours. And now that we know the truth, we can choose how to move forward. We can choose honesty, love, and respect, or we can continue the cycle of betrayal. Daniel stepped forward, placing a hand on my shoulder. Mom, we choose honesty. From now on, no more secrets. I promise. Emily nodded. We choose love. And we choose you, Grace. Always. I felt tears spill down my face. And I choose to forgive. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. We can heal together. Marge lowered her head, her voice barely a whisper. I'm sorry, Grace. I never realized how far my envy would go. I want to make amends. I took a deep breath. Forgiveness didn't come instantly, but acknowledgement was the first step. We'll see, Marge. It won't be easy, but it's possible. As the sun set that evening, the house felt different. The weight of secrets had lifted slightly, replaced by the possibility of understanding, honesty, and healing. The journey had been painful, filled with betrayal, humiliation, and fear, but we had faced it. I looked around at my family, Daniel, Emily, Robert, even Marge and Aunt Lillian. The road ahead would still have challenges, still have moments of tension and old wounds reopening. But for the first time, I felt hope. I whispered softly to myself, feeling a strange mix of relief and determination. The truth is out. The lies are exposed. And from now on, we will face life together, honestly and with love. Nothing hidden, nothing buried. The past is behind us, and the future begins today. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. Not a forced smile, not a smile of relief alone, but a smile of resilience, of strength, and of hope. And somewhere deep inside, I knew, no matter what secrets or betrayals came next, I would face them head on. Because the truth had set us free.